All right, everybody, say hi. Say hi to the world.
Hey.
Hello.
Yes, how are all of you fine people doing today on this grand, well, for us, Saturday evening?
It won't be Saturday when this goes up.
Yeah.
It'll be Sunday afternoon when you guys hear this. Anyways, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
You go first. Nathaniel.
Hey guys, my name is Nathan Fiora, also known as Caspian, or if you know me from way back in the day, I'm Troy Arcello as well. But you can just call me Nate. I've been e-fetting for around 5 years or so now, or almost 5 years, and yeah.
We'll get more into him in a bit. Next, this lovely lady here.
I'm Aria Jaxon. I also play Natasha Knight. I created Rebecca Sawyer, who's the Odyssey ring announcer. I created Jasmine Payton, who is Scott Oasis's ball and chain. I've been fetting for about 6 years now. I'm the Odyssey co-writer, the Wiki Baroness, kind of the utility woman. I kind of just fill in wherever I'm needed. And that makes my carpal tunnel worse. That makes my carpal tunnel way worse, but it's a labor of love, so I have no complaints.
And yes, I guess that brings us to me. Hello, everybody. I am Nas, CM Nas, I guess I'm the man of a million names, huh?
Literally, yeah. There's not enough time in the podcast to list them all.
Yeah, just call me Nas. But other characters I'm running David Fierce right now. I created Roy Rivers, who is the Olympus general manager. I'm also the writer for Olympus, or not the writer anymore. I guess you call me the head creative guy, the creative lead in Booker for Olympus. I write for the free previews. For example, this upcoming free preview, we have Civil War. I'm going to be writing my world title match against Jacob Sen, which, I guess I'll talk more about that later because that's like a big thing for me. And I plan on it being the biggest match that I ever have, and possibly one of my last, depending on how my schedule goes later on. But I don't want to get too off tangent. I've been fetting for over 8 years now. And needless to say, that's a long time, and it's kind of defined me as a person in a lot of ways, for better or for worse. And welcome to the OmegaCast, the OWA podcast.
Yay!
Sweet.
So we are going to be starting here with the questions first off, the link to our forum will be in the description below for all of you to see. For those of you that aren't in OWA that see this, because that's a big part of the OmegaCast in the first place, is to help bring in more new people, because we have Reddit, we have the top 100 wiki site, whatever, all that stuff, all that good stuff. I don't want to say whatever, it's good stuff. But this is another avenue for us to take to reach out to people on arguably a bigger market than any of those, aka YouTube. Also, from now on, our videos, whether it be entrance videos for our respective alphas and goddesses, our men and women, will be posted here, as well as the hype videos or the promotional videos for our free previews, our pay-per-views. It's a term that we've used in eFeds for a long time to describe pay-per-views, for those that have never eFedded before that discover this video.
It's basically the equivalent of a pay-per-view. Or
yes,
it's just a hard habit to kick.
It's just what we refer to it as. I don't know why I'm doing air quotes because none of you can see it, but whatever. Anyways, let's roll on to the questions. And by the way, the two people here, you'll be seeing them quite frequently in episodes, hopefully, because this gentleman right here, Mr. Caspian, Nathan, Troy, etc.,
Yeah.
And of course, the most famous of all, the legendary Y2 Arcello.
Oh man, I thought they both forgotten.
I don't know them. I only know Caspian. I'm disregarding every other person you named.
My man's right here will be the technical wizard as far as all this YouTubing and podcasting stuff goes.
So whatever edits you see on the video, that will most likely be me. Or
there is
whatever
another
fuck-ups you see in editing, that will also be
potential person who could do it, but we'll leave his name out as he has asked to be anonymous throughout all of this. And then,
the anonymous
of course,
general manager.
No, and then of course, this lovely woman here, she will be my co-host for these episodes, or as many of them as she can make. Or if I'm unavailable for one, she will take the lead on handling one. As there will be some potential Saturdays where I won't be available, or may not be available for X, Y, and Z reasons, which means she'll have to handle things in my leave, which I'm more than confident that she can, as she referred to herself as the utility woman.
Yeah, I kind of just do whatever.
Yeah. But yes, let's roll on to the questions asked by the members of our forums, the lovely members of our forums.
Bless their hearts. So the first
oh, and by
question.
The way, real quick. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting people.
It's okay.
It's kind of a thing I do, not intentionally.
Don't worry, I can edit all of this and make sure that we are.
No, it's fine. Keep this in, because people need to know this.
No, I mean like I have edit, I'll have voice clips of everyone.
Edit out her voice.
Yeah, I'll edit out.
Okay, well that's fine. You don't have to do that, but that's fine. Do what you think is necessary for the quality of the video.
Cool.
So yes, what's gonna happen is from now on, for those of you that aren't on our forums but are interested and wish to ask us questions and other such things, you may leave them down below in the comments of the previous video, or channel comments if that's still a thing. I don't really remember. I don't think people really use them that often, if they are still a thing. But yes, just for a place for you to ask us questions if you're not on the forums, please sign up to the forums, even if you're not going to be a member. Oh, and also, I almost forgot, our Discord server, the link to that will be down below as well. You can join us on Discord, converse with us, whether in voice or in text, and really get a general vibe for everybody on the site, everyone in the Fed.
Optimus Prime?
So yes, I suppose we can roll on to the questions now finally. And my co-host here will start by asking the first question.
Okay, so the first question is posed to us by Nate Cage.
Nate Cage, definitely someone who we will have on the show very soon, hopefully.
Yes. He would like to know, for the writers, people who actually write matches, do you prefer to lay out a match in sections before you write it, or just write it free form and let it rock from there?
Now, let me explain something real quick for all of you. For those of you that have been at eFeds before and have written matches, if you're doing it on Word or Notepad or any of that, you're doing it wrong. I just want to clarify that real quick. You're not doing it. You're not doing it the right way.
Please don't. We say this because we care. Don't, because when your computer crashes and you lose a 3K match, you're gonna want to kill yourself. Don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're also gonna want to kill the person you're writing it for.
Just don't. Save yourself. Docs or nothing.
Docs or something Google else Docs. That saves your information or all your words.
Google Docs.
Anything. Well, there are other things that people use, but that's
most of those you gotta pay for.
It's wrong.
Most of those you gotta pay for. That's why I'm saying Google Docs. It's well known, and we all know it's free. So you
can share stuff. So
you just gotta have a Google account.
And Google Docs also is cool because you can collaborate with people on shit.
Yes,
you can collaborate with people on
collaborate with people.
So.
That reminds me.
Love yourself.
Another big pet peeve, and this is for those of you that are in OWA that backup writing stuff, or just anybody in OWA, or well, I guess we'll get into this in a little bit. Our partner fed, Strong Style Wrestling, or any of the feds within our vicinity, run by any of the people that we know and that we converse with generally.
So
if you're gonna send a document of a match or a card or just anything to one of us, do not ever send it in read only. That is the biggest pet peeve that I have. I hate only having view permissions on a document.
If I'm someone on the council who does that.
If the document is for me, if the document is meant for me, you give me edit permissions. If I'm meant to be a big part of the whole deal, I get edit permissions on it, period. Mm-hmm. I don't care. If you don't know how to give someone permissions, then that's fine. Ask and we will teach you. And it's as simple as that. Anyways, to answer Mr. Nate Cage's question, well, for me personally, it goes like this. I would like to get in the habit of pre-planning, like laying out a match, like spot by, not every single little spot, but like big spot by big spot. I'd like to get in the habit of that. I've done that a couple times, but I'd like to get in the habit of that. It's much easier for multi-man matches than singles matches. Just want to clarify that. Because you can, it's easier to plan out with multiple people. Because you could say these people are doing that while this person's doing this after, and then this after that. It's just easier. But for singles matches, you kind of lose track of that, especially when you have longer matches and you're not in the habit of it. But since I'm a lazy bastard, I prefer to just freeform write as I go. It's just a habit I've been stuck in for years and years, and I don't think it'll die out, although I would like to pre-plan matches more. And I do it for bigger matches, but for everyday matches, which I'm not really going to be writing those anymore, so I guess that's not really an issue. I tend to freeform for the bulk of my matches. Anyways, one of you can speak finally.
At least, well, I backup write for the most part. Whenever I guess I'm asked to write a match, I'll usually try to think about it if I have enough time to. You know, like if I'm given the match throughout, like earlier in the week, I'll give myself like throughout the week to really think about it, or maybe watch some matches or something like that to get more inspired. And when I actually sit down, I kind of just write it. Like it's more of like a mix of both, because I'll think about it a little bit, but I won't necessarily make a solid structure for it, and I'll just write it. But when I don't really have enough time, where I just write it plainly, like just think of whatever kind of spots I'm gonna do and just do it.
Also, I want to clarify. Usually what writers do for backups, just so you all know this, if you're aspiring to become a backup or, anything like that, or if you aspire to write in general for us or for anyone within our vicinity, they will handle it the exact same way we will tell you. And that is, usually we will give you free reins for the bulk of the match to write it out as you please, but we will give you a finish. We will tell you who's winning. We will usually tell you how we want them to win. But the bulk of the match is up to you. But that's usually just for weekly shows. For free previews, we have specific layouts on how we want matches to go if we're going to hand them off to somebody. That's something that I had a bit of problems with earlier on in my writing time that I've gotten better with now as a actual head writer and booker, as far as telling backups, instructing them specifically what I want out of a match.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have more of a case where I was kind of just like helped out with in terms of like writing matches because I was new to it. But now I'll get like obviously a summary or a basic structure of the match, or like
we will tell
thoughts on how the match will go.
We will tell you what the match is, how long it needs to be, who's winning, and how they're winning. Unless it's a big free preview match, once again, in which we'll tell you step by step different things we want to happen in the match because we have specific plans in mind for our bigger shows.
Yeah, exactly.
To help the progression of characters and storylines and the general flow of the shows, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
And here's a message to all the other people who may want to be backup writers or are currently backup writers. You know, if you have another idea, like, you know, you should obviously try to pitch it to your writer. Maybe it was something that they
we have no problem hearing out any suggestion anybody has.
None whatsoever.
It's usually really helpful because it shows that you really care about.
You may give us something that we didn't even think about that might even be superior to what we had in mind. So never be afraid to approach one of us. I just want to make that very clear. I don't want anyone to be afraid to approach any of us. Even if we may act a certain way in front of you.
They're not that intimidating, I promise.
I promise.
We're not.
This is specifically meant for me.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I was like, no, name names. This is for you. None of the rest of us are scary.
I don't try to be.
So Aria, what do you do?
Yes, it's on you.
I wing it for the most part, which, given my background, given the fact that I was a match writer before I ever did anything else in eFeds, since I started off in match writing feds, makes no sense.
We'll get more into that when we go over backstory.
Yeah. You would think that my approach to things would be a lot more methodical, but generally coming into matches, especially with bigger matches at free previews, I'll have certain things in my head as far as, you know, is there a stipulation? Is there a backstory I need to work in? Are there specific spots that I want? And once I have all those in my head, I go until I hit whatever I want my number of pages or my word limit to be. And so when people say they like my matches, I'm like, really? Because I pulled that out of my ass. So I think I'm pretty decent when I just leave shit on docs and hoping it turns out.
Optimus Prime, but yes. All right. So now we can get to the next question.
The next question is from Monolith, our Spartan champion.
We will talk about the belts as well in a little bit.
Yes. So this is also a match writing based question. Is there a certain era or promotion that influences booking or writing styles?
This is a tough one for me because it's not one in specific. In terms of like the match writing style, in terms of the way I structure a match and like the way I'd like to promote my talent in matches, it's the 2014, 2015-ish era of NXT. With with Neville, Sammy, Finn, Hideo, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Tyler Breeze, all those guys. And of course, structuring down to, you know, tag stuff with Enzo and Cass, Blake and Murphy, Vaudevillains, American Alpha, Revival just came in around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to worry about the women's stuff, but I won't go into that. I won't go into that. That's not my area anymore. It used to be, but not anymore. So I'm not really too worried about that. Mainly because I know the people that do handle that can handle it pretty well. Or I know the one who can keep the one who isn't as proficient in check. Maybe we should cut that out, but we'll think about it.
I'm sorry, Keelan.
I hope he doesn't get upset. Hopefully he gets a laugh out of that.
I hope so too. In my case, wait,
I wasn't finished.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But that's in terms of match writing. I'm sorry, I'm taking too long on all this, but
it's all good.
In terms of booking, my mentality shifts more to I don't want to say I book like the Attitude Era, but I want to say I book the structure of the hierarchy of the show by the Attitude Era. By that, I mean you have your guys like you have me, you have Sen, you have Miltiades, you have you have Terra. I mean, you did have guys like Stark and Nobi as well. You know, you got your cream of the crop. You're very tippity top. That's like Rock, Austin, Triple H, Taker, et cetera, et cetera. That's those guys. A little bit below them, you have guys like Sabretooth and Gareth, who are like, up and coming Angle and Jericho, like when they were like Eurocontinental champions, like right before those two became full-fledged main eventers. A little bit below them, you got, other guys like that who are more like the European title area or like tag title area. And then you do have your opening guys, your exhibition guys who are, just coming in. But everyone starts, for me, the way I book a show, any new guy, I don't care who you are. Unless you have some huge amount of credibility to everybody to where you cannot be denied by anybody, you will start at the bottom. I don't like to give people too much too soon. You will start in opening matches. You won't jump right into a big storyline with a top guy right off the bat unless you are proven. That's why when for example, when guys like Stark and Nobi come in who are proven by their track records and their name credibility is known to everybody, they can come right in and start in programs with someone like me. But if we don't recognize you and you don't have a track record that's proven by anyone we know, we're not just going to throw you right into the deep end right off the bat. And that's not to say that you're not capable of it, because we have some very talented guys that are on the lower end of the card that are continually proving themselves. And as they earn credibility, as they get more experience working around us, and we see more and more of them and see them continually improve even further, that's when they rise up. Until that time comes, though, you will remain where you start. But hey, that's just me. Maybe that's not necessarily the attitude there, but that's what I have the best view of it as. Just based off the top going down, not from the bottom going up, per se. Anyways, on to you, sir. I just had to break that down. There's a science to it for the people.
Well, I feel like I'm more of a writer-based learner. I started watching on.
Well, yeah. I mean, he doesn't really book, so he can't answer the full question.
I can't answer the full question, but I can kind of give my perspective on like how I write matches and stuff. So, like whenever I make a match for someone, I usually try to think about it this way, like, if I want a winner to look good, I also usually have to make it credible. And for the most part, I try my best to, because like I feel like it's something
and
basic.
That's another thing that we always look for, or me specifically, I always look for. Unless the person's being written out, I don't like to just have people lose for the sake of losing, and then nothing comes from it for them, or they don't get anything. I don't like. Sometimes you have to do it because you don't have any other option. But even in defeat, I like to give people something to work with. For example, a great example of this, Bull Connors. He couldn't win the TV title off Garrett Kaysen, but he lost the number one contenders fatal four-way. But with Carson in the mix, I gave him something great to work with for him to rebound. Because despite Carson not being someone actually, like, despite him not being an actual active competitor, by the way, shout outs to Carson Ramsey. If you don't know him, he's one of the GOATs.
Come back, please.
But what I'm trying to say is his name value, despite not being active in quite a few people's eyes, from what Bull did to him recently, taking him out completely, gave Bull more stock, despite him not being an active competitor, because we all recognize Carson Ramsey and what the name signifies. So that was a good way to help Bull rebound from not winning the title at first. That's a great example. And it doesn't always work like that. It's not always something like that per se. But I always try to give guys something, even in defeat. I try to give guys something to work with so they don't just lose for the sake of losing and then they just look like losers and don't look credible. Because the idea is everyone needs to look credible, because otherwise, if a guy loses and they don't look credible, what does that do for the guy who wins? He just beats somebody who can never win. That doesn't prove how good he is. It just proves how much the other guy sucks further.
Exactly. And it's like you have to write all your talents in a specific way that makes them look competent. Like
yes,
they're really here.
But also that caters to their character.
Exactly. It has to be a style. Like I know it's usually weird when you haven't like written a character. So it's kind of like hard, and sometimes like when you're writing a character for the first time in a match, it can be a bit difficult. So you have to kind of look back and forth through their like sign up and stuff and make sure that you're faithful to your character, because like us as writers, we really care about making sure that we portray your character in the light that you want it to, or at least as close as you want it to be, and also using our own vision of what we see as your character. But
absolutely, I always pull from the sign up, even to this day, when it comes to moves people use in matches, because this is something people used to always get on writers about back in the day. Yo, you didn't use the moves on my sign up in X, Y, and Z, spots, whatever. You'd use these extra moves that I didn't even say I had, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you only sign up with like 10 moves and they're all moves of like the same variety in which I can't use them in a different set of circumstances, of course I'm gonna have to pull some shit out of my ass. So I'm not gonna say that, I'm not gonna say the person's wrong for pulling some other shit out to use, but you got to work with us on this. You got to give us a sign up where you have a large variety of moves where we can pull a bunch of different stuff, so we don't have to make up random moves for you.
Please.
But then at the same time, we have to go through with it and actually use the moves that you give us.
Speaking of signups, just to go off topic for just a little bit, please add your entrances. Please. I'm just begging you.
That's a big thing. We will, when I tell you, I haven't written a new entrance for somebody in like 2 or 3 months, including my own, I am dead serious. I copy entrances I used from previous events, reword them a little bit to fit the new scenario, and put them back in. Because it is a waste of our time to rewrite a new entrance every single week for people. And I'm not trying to get on people here on this. I'm not trying to be that guy. And if I am being that guy that makes you not want to come up to me, I apologize. But this is a serious thing. And somebody's got to put their foot down, because most of the other writers aren't going to do it. Well, I may be a little bit too harsh, but some of the other guys could be a little bit too soft. So somebody's got to do it. Please. It doesn't have to be a special free per-view WrestleMania type of entrance. We don't need that. You can add that as well, but we don't need that. You can just give us a little basic entrance for you so you can come out the way you want to come out every single week. So we don't have to rewrite it every week or keep using the same one over and over. Because you might not like the one that we write out for you. You might want something different. But guess what? We don't want to write something different every single fucking week. It's as simple as that. Any comments, anybody?
Well, yeah, I think it's also kind of our fault for not doing that. And I guess we didn't really see that. Like
we didn't think about adding that in the sign up.
But if you can, and definitely like, well, heck, you can even write your own entrance if you want to, just so like we'll keep it here.
Yes, you can write your entrance.
We would really appreciate that.
You can write it for a weekly show. You can write a little, like, it doesn't have to be long. Like if you've never seen one before, we can easily show you how to get to the show pages on the main site. Main site will also be linked down below. And so will our Twitter, by the way. We forgot to mention that one. And what? Don't we have a Reddit page too? We can link that as well, right?
Yeah, I believe we do.
All right. Well, we can link that
All
too.
kinds of
We'll
stuff.
get all the links. We'll get all the links.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, I'll have all the links in the description below. So
We'll
just
have
make
them
sure you
all
check it
for you.
out.
Yes, check out all that good stuff. But
I was talking. Yeah.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, you can. If you've never seen entrance before, just go on our either the Kingdom, the Olympus, or the Odyssey pages on the main site. Look for a match. Read an entrance from somebody. It doesn't have to be that long. It's just a couple of sentences. Just telling us what you do when you come on the stage. You know, your music plays, you come on the stage, you go down the ramp, you enter the ring. Usually you do something in the ring, like a pose of some kind, or you raise your belt if you're a champion or whatever. Just write that out. Either put it in your sign up if you want to keep it weekly, or just send it to us and tell us that you want us to use this. That would make things so much easier, because then we don't have to waste time flipping through your sign up to get you, because we don't remember your. We're gonna be straight up with you. We don't remember your music. We don't remember your moves. We don't remember that stuff all the time, to where we can keep putting it back and forth we don't remember that stuff as much as we may make it seem like we know this stuff like the back of our hands. We don't. We really don't.
We're just you guys. We're just here. We're here writing.
I'm sure you don't remember all of my shit. So how can you expect me to remember all of yours?
Exactly.
I couldn't tell you a single person's theme. Well, I probably could tell you a couple people's, but
name themes.
For the most part, I probably couldn't tell you how many people's themes beside my own. Exactly, your show, because you see them all the time. And I guess a theme is something different from a moveset. I guarantee you couldn't read off a single person's entire moveset off memory. That's fucking impossible.
Not even the short ones. No, that's just. I mean, finishers is one thing, but like a whole moveset.
And then some people have like 4 finishers and 7 signatures, and
some people have 120 moves on their sign up, and I'm not going to name names.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. The very most you should ever have is like 30. Don't ever.
30? I'd honestly say 15 to 20, honestly.
I'll give leeway. I'll give you up to 25. I'll give you leeway. 25.
If we're just talking about common moves, it should be at most 20. Because I believe I have somewhere between 15 and 20 common moves. For signatures, at the very most, you can have 5. For finishers, at the very most, you can have 3. And you can have like an ultimate finisher. I think that's what we call it, right? Ultimate finisher or ultra finisher. Yeah. Which is like the big move you only hit it like the big 4 in like a world title match. That's like you only hit it one time. Like it's like 2 or 3 times throughout the year.
You know, I imagine it as like your
it's supposed to be one of those moves that moves on somebody that like never gets kicked out of.
It's a one-hitter quitter. So
yes.
Put that, use that as the basis for it.
I genuinely imagine it as your like Mortal Kombat finish him move. Like
fatality.
Your fatality, dude. That's basically what it is. Like there's no getting back from that,
It's your final smash.
Like, do we have? Well, if we're gonna give examples,
it's your spirit bomb.
If we're gonna give examples, mine it's called Midnight Zero, which is a Sailor Moon reference, and it is a cutter variation floated over into a dragon sleeper, which I stole from Aleister Black, and I think the last time I used it on somebody, they passed out. That's what it's supposed to do, and I don't use it very often. I think I've used it twice in 6 months.
I'll give you another example. My ultra finisher, I think I have 2 actually. I mean, you can have 2, no more than 2. I have 2 because I only have 2 finishers. So to compensate, I have 2 ultra finishers. My main one, the Ether 2, is the inverted go to sleep. I've only used it once, and that was at the first of the big 4 against Miltiades, a fellow dominant main eventer. And that only beat him after I hit him with 3 other regular ethers on top of a bunch of other crazy bullshit I did.
You hit him with a kitchen sink.
Okay,
Well,
An
that's not the
actual kitchen sink.
No, that's not even the most concerning part. That's not even the first time he's used a kitchen sink in a match.
That shit it's a fucking meme because he did it before. There's no reason that should be a meme, but we look forward to acquainting you all with the stupid ass lore that goes on here.
I'm like the only person in the Fed who has 2 signature weapons.
We look forward to acquainting you all with the lore and all of this shit, the kitchen sink and all that. There's a lot.
You know, Mick Foley has Mr. Sacco and Nas has his kitchen sink.
Hey, chill. That's not even my main signature weapon. That's my ultra signature weapon.
I have light tubes is one signature weapon, which was given to me by Scott Oasis. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh yes, happy birthday to the man.
Happy
Scott.
Birthday to the boy.
That's his reason for not being here, by the way. That is the Kingdom head writer, aka Aria and I's contemporary for Sunday nights.
Yes.
Exactly.
He will be here soon. Well, not in this episode, most likely, but he will be on an episode in the not so distant future. He
bestowed upon me one of my signature weapons, which is light tubes, 2 years ago, actually. He had me use it in a match, and I rolled with it. My other signature weapon
around the same time I got the kitchen sink, by the way.
Yes, yeah. Shout out to 2016. And my other signature weapon is taser brass knuckles.
That was for me.
I need help. Yeah, I was looking. Yeah, because you wrote the chamber that I was in, and I needed a weapon, and I was like, "Is this gonna work?" And you're like, "Yeah," and you had me punch Cameron in the face with it. Poor girl.
We'll get more into the lore later. Anyways, you haven't answered the question yet. Or were you done, Nate?
Well, I was just gonna say that I kind of base my stuff more off like the modern stuff, but I always go back to like, you know, Attitude Era or just different kinds of
Aggression era.
Yeah, I'll just go back to different eras and like check out how they were telling their stories or just their matches, because to me, I think I really like focusing on the psychology and maybe like the story a little bit more than the moves. Although I enjoy doing like thinking of spots and stuff, I love more about like the story because that pulls you in. The story pulls you in, especially the way
like
that
the little things, like not necessarily the 450 off the top, but after the 450, the dude who got hit by it, like he bounces off the ring and he's holding his chest and his face is all like wincing in pain, and the guy who hit it, he's rolling around the ring holding his stomach.
Exactly.
He's like gasping for air.
Towards the end of the match, it comes back like that bump comes back in some way and kind of affects them in either like a losing situation or winning situation. Like that's what I like doing, and that's what I always try to pay attention to when I can. And like
that's also why we love guys with submissions. It's easy to write psychology with those kinds of guys.
Exactly.
And that's why I always recommend everybody, even if you're not a submission specialist, you always have at least one submission in your moveset as a bigger move. You always have at least one. Because it just gives you that much more variety. And having variety is what allows you to be a top person, other than actually being able to work at that level from a promo standpoint, which is another big thing we'll touch on in a bit. Because I'm sure there's at least one question about promos.
Yes, there is.
All right. But we'll touch on that when we get to that question. But in terms of what we were just talking about, the submissions, I highly recommend everyone has at least one submission, even if you're not meant to be a submission specialist, because you have this other X factor, this big move that can win you a match in a split second, even more so than just a 3 count. But submissions can end a move in an instant or end a match in an instant.
And also the thing about submissions that you know, you might be like in character, like during the match, you might be so exhausted to the point of like you can't be doing so many big moves. Like a submission would really be helpful. Like,
oh yeah,
in terms of just
but then you can also use the logic of, and this is another storytelling standpoint. He can't quite get the submission all the way in because he's so exhausted, depending on what the submission is.
Exactly.
See, there's multiple ways to take this that helps the overall writing process. Which is why everyone, everyone, I highly recommend you have a regular like standing finisher of some sort, whether it's like, just a standing, like a grapple kind of move, like, I get someone in the fireman's carry for the GTS, or like a strike of some kind, like a big roundhouse kick, or like, anything like that. That's your first fit. I recommend that as your main finisher, depending on what your general style is. If you're a high flyer, your first finisher should be a diving move or a springboard move or any of that kind of stuff. But everyone should at least have at least one of those, as long as you're not like a giant. Even if you're like, Batista or Brock Lesnar size, you possibly could have something like a diving spear, or like just guys that size have done like frog splash. But Lesnar's done a fucking shooting star press.
How did that go?
In OVW, it went really well.
How did it go at WrestleMania 19?
Okay, my point is,
it goes well sometimes.
My point is, everyone can have at least some sort of diving. I highly recommend everyone has one. Not everyone you don't have to, but I recommend it. And of course, the third thing, the submission. Those 3 moves, it gives you so much variety, different kind of ways you can win a match, and the different kind of ways you can just have big moments in a match, depending on how long the match goes. Because then people aren't seeing the same finisher over and over again, because that dulls people to it if they see it so much. And it doesn't have to be those different 3 kinds of moves per se. That just gives you the most variety of any kind of setup. And it's the setup most people, because most people in defense, I'm going to be real with you, most people don't use 290-pound, like, beefed up motherfuckers. Most people don't use those kind of guys. Most people don't use like 7-foot, like 400-pound giants. Most people don't do that. Most people don't even use like, your John Cena, Randy, or Triple H type size guys, your Edge size guys. Most people don't even use those guys generally. Most people you see are from like 210 to at the very most 230 for the most part. Your light heavyweights, your CM Punks, your Seth Rollins, your Kofis, your Christians, that general size area. Your Dolph Zigglers, your Shawn Michaels, that general area. So you can afford to use that kind of variety when you're that kind of size. Because you're not so small where you, like Rey Mysterio, where you can't do the lifting stuff. You can do the lifting stuff. But, you're big enough to do that, but you're still agile and athletic enough to do the diving stuff. And that general size is probably the best size for submission guys. Because look at all the greatest submission specialists ever. They're all around that size area. Whether it's Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, I can keep going. So yes, now that he and I have said our piece, finally, it's your turn to speak on the second question. After all this time.
We got so far off track.
But maybe we're answering further questions. You don't even realize
that. That's also true. So as far as promotions and eras that I rip inspiration from, obviously since I write Odyssey, or I co-write Odyssey with Keelan Callahan, which is the women's show.
Yes, women's show. Very big deal.
We have an all women's brand.
Please, ladies, join. We need more of you. Actual ladies, not men masquerading as ladies.
I mean, we're totally cool if you're a guy with a female alt, but we need to know.
We need to know beforehand. That needs to be a thing you let us know.
Obviously, I rip the vast majority of my inspiration from actual occurrences in women's wrestling. So I grew up on the golden era in the mid to early 2000s, which was like Trish, Lita, Victoria, Jacqueline, Jazz, Molly Holly.
The female golden era, by the way, not the general golden era. We're not talking about Hogan and Macho and all that.
The one that Trish referenced in her Hall of Fame speech. Basically, everybody that I grew up idolizing.
The female golden era.
That was back when I was getting in trouble for doing lead assaults off the back of the couch. That's where I take a lot of my inspiration from. And then I also, since we're talking about NXT, that period where the 4 horsewomen was running shit and I was heavily invested, I take a lot of inspo from that. I take a lot of inspo from the like 2008 to 2011 TNA Knockouts division.
Nah,
Because
I was gonna say, hopefully you're talking about TNA, because if you were talking about WWE, we would have some problems.
No,
There were some talented people in the mix around that time. A few.
No, there were definitely. I mean, that was in WWE. They still had Mickie James. They still had Melina. They still had Beth Phoenix, Michelle McCool. But they were not being used properly. They had Eve. Eve was on the come up, but they were not being used properly. So it was super depressing. So I got into TNA at that point, and this is when they had like the Beautiful People and Awesome Kong, and Gail had just stepped out at that point. So there was a lot of good shit going on. Taylor Wilde, Sarita, Hamada.
TNA during that 2006 to 2000, like halfway through 2010, like everything before Immortal was good.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify everything.
Yeah.
Everything before NWO 2.0.
So that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. So much so to the point that like I'm still very big on Madison Rayne. One of my finishers is actually the Purple Rain is actually Angelina Love's Botox injection, because
very nice move. I love her so much.
I love that move. I fuck with that period of time very, very heavy, because I feel like they were letting women do things that mainstream North American women's wrestling wasn't really showcasing.
AKA WWE.
Yeah. So yeah, those three I think are the big ones. So early 2000s WWE, late 2000s TNA, and then the Four Horsewomen in NXT are where I take a lot of my inspiration from a booking standpoint. Keelan and we like similar things. We look for similar things in people that we want to use.
By the way, shout outs to Keelan Callahan, the other Odyssey writer.
My co-writer. We look for similar things in people. I am huge on consistency. I need to know that you're going to show up in promo from 1 week to the next, or I'm not doing shit with you.
Absolutely. And that's why I don't book people in too high of spots too early. That's another thing, because what happens if I give you a title shot like right off the bat and then you like vanish? Like what the fuck am I supposed to do? I got to book around that because you decided you wanted to be inconsistent.
Yeah. If you look at the people on Odyssey at this time that are in the high profile position, so our champion, Tiana Jupiter, there from 1 week to the next. Azumi Goto, our Queen of the Ring, there from 1 week to the next. Savannah Sunshine, our inaugural Queen of the Ring, there from 1 week to the next. So that's definitely what I look for.
All from very talented people.
Yes. That's what I look for from a booker standpoint. As far as
because anybody can have the writing skill.
Yeah, I need to know if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
As far as how my actual writing process goes, the shit that I integrate into matches, anybody who's read any of my matches will tell you they are very, very wordy and super descriptive. I don't like for there to be any questions.
She's very good about going into detail about every little detail, every little effect that every single little move has on both people.
I'm very thorough. I don't like for there to be any questions when anyone is reading my match. I don't like for anyone to have to ask, oh, well, where are they? Or are they selling? Any of that shit. You know everything that's going on. You know if they're fatigued. You know if these people hate each other. You know if there's mutual respect. You know if they're bleeding. You know if there's any injuries, any underlying overlapping plot line. You know everything about everything. I'm also very heavy. My matches, especially the big ones, tend to be very heavy with counters. So there's a lot of people getting like snatched out of midair. You know, you go for a Hurricane Rana, they counter with a power bomb. You get drop kicked out of midair. Kicking your way out of a submission, something like that. My matches are very counter heavy.
That's something I tend to do a lot as well. I'd say Sunday Nights is the one that needs to pick up on that a bit. And that's no disrespect because he's easily the most seasoned writer amongst all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain things he does the best that we're not so keen on as much as he is. I'd say he's the best character, arguably.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I only say arguably because of how thorough you tend to be at times, but I mean, I guess his experience outweighs.
I think I'm pretty good when it comes to capturing people's character in matches, but just like in an overarching way in matches, segments, long running stories, I can't compete with Oasis, and I'm totally okay with that because he's had a long time. to perfect
He's been writing
that.
He's been writing consistently like this for a show every single week far longer than any of the rest of us have been doing it.
Yeah,
So
on this level.
of course, even though we have people sitting under the learning tree learning us, me in specific, we still learn from him at the same time. Because no matter how experienced you get at this, there's always more to learn. That's something I found out very early, and something that I cherish very much. The moment you start going backwards is when you think you've progressed enough to where you don't have to keep going forward, if that makes sense.
This is true.
Because if you're not going forward in this world, and this is, I don't know, I'm not trying to be a big motivational guy. This is a general thing, honestly, but in eFeds, if you're not continually pushing yourself forward, you're going back.
Basically.
And the main reason for that is there's so many people in rotation. If someone sees somebody stumbling, they will capitalize and try and take that spot.
Oh yeah.
And that's not a sign of disrespect. That's just the fact that there's only so many spots you can hold at a time and so many people that want them. So I believe that ends that question, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that got it. That's
now we can finally get to question number 3.
Question number 3 comes to us from our sitting OWA world champion and fellow council member, young stick boy Finnegan Wakefield.
Shouts to Finnegan Wakefield, the OWA champion.
And
the Wikipedia god.
Yes, he is my fellow wiki person. He does more of the work even than I do. He's a lot better with the formatting and stuff than I am.
The wiki man.
But he is the wiki wizard.
And also he posts the cards for us every single week as well, and gives us nice formatting with his beautiful coding that sometimes we have to butcher to get our cards in on time. But he comes behind us when it's necessary and fixes it up for us. So we are very thankful to him for all the things he does, large or small.
His question for his fellow council members is, why are we all losers?
Well, for me, I would say it all started when I turned on the television and I saw Dragon Ball Z for the very first time. That's a long story that we don't have the time to get into here.
I have a legitimate answer for this, which is actually kind of sad, but I actually don't have a real answer.
Go on.
So yeah, as far as e-fetting is concerned, because we're all losers if we e-fed.
That's true. In that case, it all started in the year 2000. I was 4 years old. I tuned into TV, and I saw The Rock cut a promo for the very first time. It was the promo in New Jersey, actually, when he cut the promo heading into the Armageddon Hell in a Cell, and he imitated everybody else. That was in New Jersey. Of course, I didn't go. I was watching on TV, but it was in New Jersey, which is why I remember it so much. That's where I'm from, by the way. I don't live there now. I live in Georgia, but originally from New Jersey. Rock is my favorite wrestler of all time. He's the guy who got me into wrestling in the first place. I'd say he's still my number one. For a while, he and Shawn Michaels were battling for that spot, but I think Rock definitively has it at this point. Love HBK. He's number 2, definitely. But yeah, in terms of that, but in terms of e-fetting in general, I don't want to go into too much detail because that means, we'll have to talk about that place.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for reasons that will remain unknown to a lot of you, because I don't want to open up that can of worms. Because at this point, me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I'm trying to remain neutral and as positive and as civil as possible in terms of how I react, in terms of how I act to everyone in this world of e-feds, because gonna be real. It's like actual wrestling. Or it's just in general. There are people around that you're not gonna get along with. There are people around that, you know, can say terrible things about people and not feel any remorse for it, can act a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And that's on both sides. That's not a one-way thing. Sometimes we do it in response to others. Sometimes we're the person who initiates the problem. It doesn't really matter, because if we're all getting involved, guess what? We're all just as wrong as each other. That's why I keep my mouth quiet. That's why I wasn't on social media for the longest time. I am now. By the way, our individual, should we link our Twitters individually? Do we have to go that far? Or do we just not care?
My Twitter is my Twitter. Like, I don't have an in-character Twitter. That's my actual Twitter. That's the real me.
Do you want to anyway, or just no?
I'm undecided. I'll give that, because that's like my actual
But
Twitter.
Still,
like my brother and my cousins follow that. I don't know.
But still, do you want? Do you want? All right. What about you, boy? Is he not here?
Nathaniel?
He's here. Oh, he's muted.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, we'll leave him out. All right. We for now, our individual Twitter remain unlinked. But if you want to follow any of us in specific, I guess you can ask us, like either in the comments or if you join Discord, ask us on that or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not really a big thing for me. I don't care, because I don't have a personal Twitter, because I'm not that big on social media in the first place.
No, that is my actual Twitter.
My Twitter is weird because it's not for my character, but I remain anonymous on it in terms of who I actually am, because I have stuff going on in my life to where I don't need people to know that much about me. And also, I'm just generally that kind of a distant type of guy. I don't like to give people a lot of personal information about me or my family or any of that kind of stuff. So, in general,
I will make a decision on that later.
we will discuss that later. But for now, yes, we will not link them for now. What were we talking about before that, though?
Oh, why are we all losers?
Yes.
I can't blame it entirely on wrestling, because I guess my earliest memories of wrestling are probably from when I was about 3 or 4. So from that point, literally from when I was 3 or 4 all the way up until when I was 17, I just liked wrestling. Like that was the extent of it.
There was a period of time where I got out of it, actually, around what, 2006, 2007-ish, around that area, and I didn't get back into it until like 2010, like right by WrestleMania 26, because I heard Shawn Michaels' career was on the line against Undertaker, and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Oh, that's some shit to come back to.
Yeah, because Shawn was the man for me, because that was back when when I liked him more than Rock. So I came back to see him, as well as some of the other guys I really liked, like Batista and Edge and Jericho, etc. And then I really got hooked on some of the new guys as well. Like and I know a lot of people find this guy very polarizing, but at the time I really dug Sheamus. He was so awesome.
I wasn't into Sheamus at that time. I didn't get into Sheamus until he turned face, honestly. I'm fake.
Oh no, I loved Sheamus heel and face. I just loved that era of Sheamus so much. I mean, I love this current Sheamus as well, but that Sheamus was
like I love Sheamus.
That Sheamus was a different breed. Oh, and also, obviously, the good old punkster, Mr. CM.
Sad face.
I saw him very early on because I did see his debut, and I saw a couple of things like he and Morrison. I loved that program. That was like the big highlight for me out of ECW under WWE. Because like I love Christian and I love the ECW originals like RVD and Tommy Dreamer and Sandman and all those guys, but Punk and Morrison was just such a great story, especially between two guys who hadn't really got that much exposure beforehand. And that was back before they completely devalued the ECW title. So it still meant something when those two were fighting for it.
I can't even, like I said, like from the time I was 3 or 4 all the way until I was 17, there was never a point in time where I stopped watching wrestling. There were times where I got more into it than others, because now that I'm older, I can look back and realize that times in my life where I had more shit going on was always the times that I doubled down more and got further into wrestling because of that escapism element.
I'll make this very clear now, because there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions about this. I love the wrestlers today. I hate wrestling today. Well, WWE. I love every other promotion. But even then, I don't watch anything else really other than big NJPW shows and big ROH shows and, stuff like that. But I don't watch TNA, by the way. I fully acknowledge TNA is vastly superior to what it was a couple years ago, but it still isn't where I think it could be. And that's not to say that it's bad now, but I want it to be better because I know it could be better. I see no reason why it couldn't reclaim the same type of hype and quality it had from that 2006 to 2010-ish era before they ruined it all by giving Hogan all the power and turning Jeff heel and giving him that ugly ass title and all that. Blah, blah, blah.
We're not going to talk about, I'm the Antichrist. Shut the fuck up, Jeff. Stop. Why are you doing this? Why are you on a purple button down? Stop. Please stop.
Oh, man.
But I realized there were times where I was doubling down more, like when I started high school. And that was, well, I'm not going to go into details, but something traumatic happened around that time. So I doubled down and got in more into wrestling. And then after I graduated from high school, which was actually when I started e-fedding, was the summer, like not even 2 months after I graduated, was when I joined my first e-fed, which was a match writing fed. And
that was in what year?
2012.
Okay. Now
I just dated myself.
My story a little bit different because I think I was getting ready to turn 14, or I had just turned 14, one of those two. It was something around there. It was like, this is summer 2010. I was a baby. I was a youngin.
It's the worst time to come into e-feds, by the way.
And I joined this fed because I was on a XAT chat looking for a streaming service for SummerSlam 2010. Because that was back when I would go out of my way to watch all the shows every single week, blah, blah, blah. I was really hooked on everything. Terrible era to get hooked on. But, and I think that's why I feel the way I do now. Because things are better now than then, but I can't watch it anymore. Hey, Uncle Jamie. Auntie Corey said you need some help. There he is.
And I was actually ready for it this time because he scared me last time.
Okay, so welcome back. We're now in part 2. The unintended part 2. But we are here. Hold on. Okay, so we are now here in part 2. And where were we?
we were answering Finn's question as to why we are all losers.
Ah, yes. Go on.
I was pretty unabashed about it. Just the fact that, like, the whole element of escapism for eFeds really came in handy at times in my life when I needed it. And even if that's not necessarily the case now, I've doubled down on it so much that even at this juncture, even after how turbulent this year has been for some of us, I can't in good conscience just walk away because I don't necessarily have a reason to. My thing is, for the most part, always been I wanted to continue fedding until real life made it so that I couldn't. And I've been pretty fortunate that that hasn't happened. There have been times where I've gotten busier, but it hasn't gotten to the point where it's not an option for me. So, yeah, I'm a loser because I keep coming back and doing this shit every day, but I'm at peace with it. I wear it on my sleeve. So, fuck you, Finn.
And there it is. So, next question.
The next question is it's from our dear friend, Mr. Kenny Drake.
Yes, leader of the Wolves Den, which is a stable in OWA.
Yes.
One of two.
Creative genius. He wants to know why male models. That's the question. I
don't understand.
I don't either. I don't. Because guys want to feel pretty too, Kenny. I don't know what else to tell you.
And there's your answer. Next question.
A much more practical question from Miss Savannah Sunshine, one of Odyssey's MVPs and our inaugural Queen of the Ring. She would like to know how we all got involved in e-fetting, but we sort of touched on that.
Sort of. We didn't go into too much detail. I mean, I didn't really go into any detail.
Well, we can hit that one because obviously it's a much more practical question. So.
All right. Well.
There's actual answers to this.
I'm going to be vague about it here. If you have any further questions or want me to be more specific about things, you may hit me up on Discord if you want the more in-depth answer. But I'm going to be vague about it here because this involves several people and a place that I'm going to refrain from talking about very much on this podcast to keep things civil and peaceful and just to ensure that things stay quiet and things remain as they should. You know, everyone minding their own business, doing their own thing, you know, flourishing the way that they should without being at each other's throats, blah, blah, blah. If you have more questions about that as well, I guess I could explain that. Not here, but I can answer that for you if you ask the question on Discord or on our forums or whatever. Not in the YouTube comments. I'm not going to do it there either. But, so I was looking for a stream of SummerSlam 2010 on XAT, a website called xat.com, which is a website full of chat rooms. I was looking for a wrestling streaming chat room. And I bumped into a guy. I'm not going to go into detail about who he is for several reasons. Just know he was a great guy, very nice guy. He asked me, hey, he was looking for people to join this eFed thing that he was a part of. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'd be interested. Why not? And he linked me to the Fed that not only did I get my start in, per se, but that I had been participating in on and off for the bulk of my years in e-fetting. On and off about 5 years out of my 8. If not a little bit more than that. But basically, he linked me the place. I joined. School was starting back up for me. Got busy. Didn't really have a computer to consistently promo on. Didn't last long. Came back several years later once I was finished with school and all that blah, blah, blah. All those issues I had before were not a concern anymore. And hit my stride and just kept progressing. In the meantime, in those other years, I was still participating in e-fetting, but not like traditional like computer-based e-fetting. I was one of those video game e-fetters for a long time on the PlayStation 3. And I can talk about that a bit more because that's, there was nobody there that like there's tension with or whatever. So basically, and I joined this accidentally, by the way. The dude who ran the place, I was playing WWE12 online, just playing some matches, played a 6-man tag. The dude I was playing with, it was really peculiar. First of all, his guy was completely invisible.
Okay.
And at the time, I don't think you could make a guy completely invisible. I think you can now with all the crazy shit you can do on 2K games, but back then I don't think you could do that. So he hacked it, obviously. And he also had a hacked move set. He used to do crazy shit like glitch people to get them stuck on the barricade to where they literally could not get off.
Oh,
he wasn't
fucking around. He was out here to win by any cost.
He used to speed blitz people and hit them with finishers in like 30 seconds. It was wild.
Disgusting.
This guy gave me my start in that world of e-feds, you could call it, which is completely different territory from where we are now.
Yes.
But it's all the same general stuff. We make up wrestlers, we compete with each other, we tell stories, we win belts, blah, blah, blah. It's just the format we do it in is completely different. So, did that for several years. After a year, I ended up becoming the guy running the place. Years go by, and here we are now. I guess it's as simple as that. Sorry if that didn't quite make sense or if that seemed really incoherent. Once again, if you have further questions about details, I can give them to you, just not in video. For reasons I will specify if you ask me. But on to you if you have any other details you want to give out about your beginnings.
Yeah, like I said, I touched on it already, but I started fetting in the summer of 2012 when I was 17. I just graduated from high school. I stumbled upon feds accidentally, and it's weird because I had been writing for years before that.
By the way, the reason e-fetting piqued my interest is she actually made me remember this. Because I did like role playing and writing for all sorts of different things, whether it was Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Pokemon, Super Smash Bros, all that sort of bullshit. So, which is why I was back into wrestling, and I saw there was a wrestling version of this. I was like, that's really cool. I'm gonna get on this. And that's how it happened. So I was a loser far before doing this type of RP writing type of bullshit. I mean, I've written fucking fan fictions way back in the day, so I have nothing to say.
I don't know how I didn't stumble across e-fetting before that. I guess I existed just outside of it. I have no idea.
E-fetting really wasn't like that big outside of its core base audience, and it still isn't really.
Yeah. I stumbled upon it accidentally. I don't know what I was looking for on YouTube, but I clicked on a video, and the video was the Titantron for the girl who was the women's champion of the first Fed that I joined. And the link to the Fed was in the description box, so I clicked it, and it took me to this Fed. And after clicking around for a hot second, you can kind of get the gist of what the fuck this is. And I was like, they're pretending to be wrestlers. This is right up my alley. And I made up my first character pretty much on the spot. And that was how I joined my first E-Fed. It was a match writing Fed, so it is completely unlike OWA.
Which is an RP Fed. You could.
Yeah. Match writing Fed, for those who are
unfamiliar. Well, no, this wouldn't necessarily constitute as an RP Fed per se, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Match writing Feds are different in the regard that, so a card gets posted the same way that it would here or in any promo-based Fed.
Yes, this is promo-based. That's the way to word it.
Yeah. The card gets posted. You see who you're facing, if there's any stipulation with the title match or whatever. And, you go to the threads where you're supposed to post your matches at, and that's where the instructions will be. If there's a certain, like, you get instructions. It's like if you're a backup writer, there's a certain word limit that you can hit. If there's supposed to be a run-in, if there's supposed to be anything, you have to follow these instructions over the course of writing your match. You write it, you post it. Obviously, the board members judge it. Whoever writes the better match is who wins, and their match is accepted as the canon version of events. So I had never written a match in my life, and that was what I got thrown into. Thankfully, I caught on pretty quickly. I did that for almost a year. While I was doing this match writing Fed, I simultaneously joined my first RP-based Fed. So I'm doing both of these at the same time. I figured out very quickly that I preferred RP and promo-based Feds. Along the way, I tried out all kinds of other different shit. I was in, God forgive me, Tumblr E-Feds. I did Seasons, which moved way too slow for me. I did turn-based Feds. I did all kinds of stuff.
You ever joined the Instagram Feds?
No. That's probably the one thing I wasn't in Twitter Feds either.
Were you in the Facebook Feds?
No, thank God. Thank God. I tried my hand at all kinds of stuff, but ultimately, promo-based Feds are, I figured out that that's where I feel most at home. I was doing all kinds of stuff before I came over to this side of the internet in July of 2015. I joined the other Fed that Nas has alluded to. Honestly, for the vast majority of being there, this is where I introduced the Aria Jaxon character. I came up with her on the spot when I joined this particular Fed. For all of the points of contention that we are not going to touch on here, and these points of contention didn't really pop up until toward the end of our time there, I had an overwhelmingly good experience for the rest of it. I did a lot of shit. I won a lot of shit. So I can't complain about a lot of it. But that carries us all the way up through now that I'm in OWA and SSW. I am co-writing Odyssey. My main character is on Kingdom. I was the first SSW World Champion. I haven't done that bad for myself. That's as much as I could condense the last 6 years. I think that's everything.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention, by the way, I am the Omega Heavyweight Champion. You figure that's a detail I would have remembered to specify earlier.
As of this recording, he is also one half of the Freebird Tag Team Champions in SSW.
Yes.
That show hasn't gone up yet. But as of this recording, he is a dual. That show hasn't gone up yet, but as of this recording, he's a dual champion.
As of this recording. Oh my god. Okay, well, I believe that finishes up this question, right?
Savannah asked an actual question. Bless her heart. We appreciate that.
All right. What's next?
Our next question is from Bloody Jack, who
New sign up. Haven't really spoken to the guy. Haven't really gotten to see much of him. So I'll sign up. I liked it. We'll see where he goes.
His promos are scary.
Good scary or bad scary?
And he's on no, good, no, the promos are very well written, but the content is scary, and he's on Kingdom, so fuck my life.
Like creepy scary. Not like, oh, this is so good, I'm worried scary.
No, not so good that I'm, not to say that he's not good, because he is, but I feel like I can go toe-to-toe with anyone.
Well, yeah, you're a seasoned veteran who's been around for many years and has held multiple world titles.
The content is scary, is what I'm saying.
Okay, we got it clear now.
Scary things are happening.
Shout outs to the young man, Bloody Jack.
This is actually, I like this question. Which people on the roster would you most like to see in a real wrestling promotion, and why?
That's kind of tough, to be honest. What do you think?
I honestly would love to see a real live version of Wolves Den. That's the first one that comes to mind. Kenny is one of my favorite people that I have ever promoted against. The way that he tells stories, he is so methodical in the way that he goes into detail, and it's amazing. So I feel like anything in real life with that backing would be fantastic. Just everything that goes on with Heaven's Den, how many people are in the fucking stable, it would be fun to watch. They're like Nexus, but good.
Nexus was good for like a month or two.
Where the fuck is Michael Tarver now?
All right, you can't bring up individuals.
I would love to see Wolves Den in real life. This is kind of cheating because our alts are in there. I would love to see a real life version of The Unchained. Honestly, I feel like that would be hilarious. I would love a real life version of The Unchained. That would be. I would have all their merch if they were real.
Oh man.
Now those are cheating because those are stables. As far as individuals, off the top of my head, Gareth Kaysen sticks out to me.
Yes, he was one I was gonna say.
That's something that I would definitely fuck with very heavy if that was an actual wrestler in a promotion.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit, like you did for the Sables?
The Gareth Kaysen character is extremely brash and extremely sure of himself, and uses an MMA background to break down opponents in the ring. And if this was 10 years ago and I was a little kid, I absolutely would not fuck with him. But now that I'm older and I'm all cynical and jaded, that's exactly the kind of person that I would be. Precisely the kind of wrestler that I would root for.
But it's the type. But it's the type of thing, like it's not like a Miz kind of deal where he's super arrogant and then gets his ass tossed around for most of the match and finds a way to win off some bullshit.
He can go toe to toe just about anybody.
And everything he says, he's actually capable of doing. Arguably, that pisses you off even more.
Because there ain't shit you can do about it. There's shit you can say to him, really.
Yeah.
This is not an active wrestler, but I would love to see just the real life meme tomfoolery surrounding this person. Chet Kensington.
Oh my god. That is a referee, by the way, created by the OWA World Champion Finnegan Wakefield. the senior referee of OWA.
That doesn't mean he's good at his job. No, Chet Kensington is actually really fucking bad at his job. He gets assaulted, especially by Kenny Drake. He gets his fingers broken because he can't count. He can't do his job.
Well, it makes it harder to count when you don't have fingers.
He has become, during live shows that we do on Discord, he has become a meme. and I love memes. So becoming a meme in a
We
real
don't like
life
it
wrestling
when we
promotion
don't like
would
it when
really
memes in live shows go too far.
We don't. But
Let's keep that to a minimum, an acceptable amount.
Chet is a meme.
You got questions about what an
Chet is a
acceptable amount
meme.
is? Odds are you're going too far.
Chet is a meme we can all appreciate because we never mind when bad things happen to him. And bad things do happen to him. Nas has berated him before during matches, and I'm pretty.
It's a good thing he's not on Saturday. It's a good thing he's not on Friday nights. I mean,
he's our problem on Kingdom, which is super unfortunate. But
all right, the next person I'm going to bring up is someone who I really wanted to get the chance to write, but Oasis kind of sniped him from me, which is fine because I love my roster as it is. But this is one guy I would have loved to have, and he would have been great in the mix for the TV title. Lane Curabane. That's how you say the name, right? Please tell me I'm saying the last name right.
Yeah, Lane. Okay, well, you're saying it phonetically, so I hope that's how it's pronounced.
I hope
that's
it
what
is.
It looks like it's supposed to be.
If not, Mr. V will come from my neck. But that's fine.
Sorry, Robbie.
I love the character. Love the bass.
I like Lane. I like Chad Gable, and Robbie likes Chad Gable. So I'm glad he's finally getting to use Chad Gable.
His theme and the little like video Robbie made for his theme is really fucking awesome.
Robbie's very detailed with his character.
And his matches are fantastic. Oasis has done a great job handling his writing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want me to give another answer, because I have plenty, but another answer I would definitely give is my boy Miltiades.
I would love a real life version of Miltiades very, very much. That would be
I feel
fun.
like that's a character, that's a gimmick, that's a person that could work literally basically everywhere in the world. WWE, ROH, TNA, NGPW, CMLL,
definitely.
fucking Progress, ICW, NWA, all of them. He's just an amazing character. But he's written to be this absolutely like God-gifted performer at the same time. He's everything. And even though he's like one of the absolute best heels ever right now, with a little bit of tweaking to him and the right story behind it, he could very easily convert to being one of the most beloved baby faces if it had to happen.
Oh yeah. And that's just
because people want to root for him because he's so good. But then he also pisses people off at the same time because he's so good and he knows it. And
that being able to toe that line and that versatility can completely be attributed to the person writing the character, because Arn is fucking fantastic.
My brother, my best friend.
He can do anything, so I'm not at all surprised that
if anyone knows, it's
we're
her.
able to say these things about Miltiades. That's my fake fiance. That has been my ship partner for almost 3 years. Holy shit! Wow, I don't know where the time's gone. Yeah, he can do anything. He's incredibly gifted as a promoter, so I'm not at all surprised that Miltiades has.
I'm telling you, for sticking by you so long, you might have to turn that into some IRL stuff. I'm telling you, just give him a chance. Just give my man's a chance.
You need to stop. This is not what the podcast is for.
All right, let me stop playing around. I mean, we've given enough good examples. There's definitely way more than that. Like, of course, my boys Sabretooth and McAdams, love Miles Taylor. Monolith is an amazing monster. Bull Connors is a bruiser.
Yes. I would love a real life version of Tiana Jupiter because
Of course.
If we're speaking in WWE purely, they don't let their faces like be the cool people. They don't let the ones who have the last laugh. They let their faces get the shit kicked out of them. They never get the last word in, and they're basically used as props to prop up the cool heels and the tweeners. And Tiana being our champion right now is a very good example of a face who has a backbone.
Well, the
who
other
can stand up
faces
for
have to make the
themselves.
heels look really good, so that when the heels face Roman Reigns, they make Roman Reigns look really cool.
WWE just makes their faces look stupid. It's really exhausting. It's exhausting.
No,
So
not
I would
their
love
faces. They're extra faces.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
The ones they don't care about that we care about.
Yeah. So
Or
I
not
would
care
love a real
about as
Tiana.
much as some others that they should.
Yes, I would love a real Tiana. I wouldn't want her to go to WWE because I wouldn't like how she'd be handled, but I would love a real Tiana. By that same token, I would love a real Savannah Sunshine, but again, because of how happy that character is, I would
That
not
character
want her
would
to
get neutered in WWE so easily.
They'd fuck her up. She would get the Bailey treatment, poor girl.
Arguably worse. Because of the whole
they would
shit.
get her. Oh god, yeah, they would fuck her up so bad. I would love a real Savannah, but she would need to be in like I don't want to say ROH because ROH is kind of is it.
They're trying, but they don't have anyone there that really knows what they're doing as far as handling.
There's a lot left. There's a lot left to be desired with the way they're handling the women.
They have better matches on a consistent basis, but
yeah, because they have people like Emma and Sumi Sakai and Kelly Klein.
I'm also referring to the natural ROH style of just having better general matches, but
yeah,
the character work and the story work and just the general booking of the storytelling between people just being a lot left to be desired.
Yeah.
But I think from the female perspective, it's different from the male perspective. From the female perspective, I think the main issue is they don't really have too many people there that know how to do it for them well. But I feel like that's something they are trying to work on. But we'll see how far that goes.
They are. And I feel like they should have started sooner because, I mean, they used to have people like fucking Sarah Del Rey at their fingertips. I think using somebody like her would have been a great way to, lay the foundation for your official women's division. But, they waited a really long time and they definitely have girls that can do it. I mean, like I said, they have Tenille, formerly known as Emma. They have Sumi Sakai, the inaugural Women of Honor champion. They have Kelly Klein. They have Mandy Leon, who has improved leaps and bounds. So yeah, they definitely have the roster to do it. They just need to actually focus on them consistently. As far as where I would like to see Tiana and Savannah in real life, if they were real life characters, I would say Stardom. They would do really, really good in Stardom.
And there you have it.
Is it everybody?
Do you have anybody else?
That's everyone I can think of off the top of my head. If I didn't mention you, I still love you, I promise.
Absolutely. We love all of you. The next question.
Next question is from Trevor Marsden.
AKA.
Who asked, AKA our friend Haruna, who I'm known for over 3 years now. And she, along with Azumi Goto, runs Joshi Extreme Takeover, which is another fed in our orbit. It is an all-women's Japanese fed, as the name suggests. There's really no promoing involved. We do like the press conference style NJPW promos for the pay-per-views, and that's it, which is appealing to a lot of people.
Which means it's awesome.
It is, yeah. It's great. You don't have to do shit. It's fantastic. We're gonna have to link that. But she asks,
You should ask.
why are
You
we
should ask
still
them if
here?
I can be the first guy to break down the boundaries and join, because I'm not trying to do shit.
You can stay over here and mind your business.
Yawn.
You're already in Japan. We're in SSW.
Okay, but I still have to work for that.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
She asks, why are we still here? Just to suffer? Bitch, yes. I'm kidding.
Yes, that is exactly the reason why. See, the reason I'm still here in specific, I can't answer for everybody. I don't know everyone's reasons. Everyone has their own story. For me specifically, it's because I would just feel awful leaving things off as they are right now, because I know there's still more left. There's still more left to tie up. Not just as far as the CM Nas character, but in terms of my place in the Fed. I could not leave unless Olympus was fully capable and left in the hands of the people that I entrusted to, and I know that they are ready to handle things without me having to give them my sign of approval every single week, without me having to hold their hand per se, which I'm not trying to demean them. Sabretooth and McAdams, two very good guys, my sons, I'm not trying to demean them in saying that I'm holding their hands, but even they'd be the first two to admit it, that I am really helping out. But that was the idea, that was the intention from the beginning, was for me to coach the two of them, because real life is getting so busy for me. I can't sit down every single week and lay out a show and write a show. I can still lay out the plot points week by week and book the show week by week. That's what I'm doing. But then I give it to them and they write it out. By the way, backups. From now on, I don't care what Keelan says. I don't care what Oasis says. Happy birthday to Oasis, but I don't care what he says. Even my co-host here, and I'm sure she's fine with this. McAdams and Sabretooth being younger and less experienced than everybody else means Friday nights gets priority on backups. And if any of the other writers have a problem with that, tell them to talk with me personally.
No, I'm fine with that.
And there it is. So if Oasis or Keelan
and I have
if
done a pretty good
Oasis, all
job.
right, well, okay then. If Keelan or Oasis have a problem with McAdams and Sabretooth getting priority on backups before anybody else gets to, tell the both of them to come see me and we'll handle it.
That sounds real.
And I'm not trying to be confrontational. Okay, when I no, because this is because this is
pull up.
Okay, no. But this is a serious thing, because these two guys need the help way more. I get it. Oasis is by himself technically.
And they do.
But he can handle the show by himself far better than the two of them can together right now. That's not an insult to the two of them, because he has years and years and years of experience over the two of them. And once again, they'd be the first to admit that they need the help, which is why I'm going out of my way to ensure they get the help before anybody else does. From now on, every backup listening, if you get offered to help one of the other shows, ask if Friday night needs help first. Because McAdams and Sabretooth were both in your positions as backups before. So you used to reach out and help out your brothers, help out your fellow former backups.
Trust me, I know what it's like to be a backup who graduated, so please be nice to them. Help them out.
So that's that. Is that it for this question? Is that it? Well, that's for me.
I guess
I just can't leave yet. I have too much of I couldn't leave with a good conscience right now. I'd be too worried about Olympus, and I'd be too worried that I didn't tie things up personally the right way.
No, yeah, I feel like I'm in a similar boat, especially now that, I mean, and have to preface this by saying I didn't come into OWA as a showrunner. In the Fed that I was in previously, was a member of, like, I'll say the writing staff under the amazing and supremely talented Stephanie Matsuda, who is one of my absolute best friends in the world of VFeds. I was writing under Stephanie, and so that was really the extent of it as far as how much writing I had done recently. And the beginning of my time at OWA, I was promoing for my characters. I was a backup for pretty much whoever needed me. I was just filling in and writing matches. The end of, I think it was after Budokai Tenkaichi, so this is like July. Keelan
Yes, this is
hits
right.
me up and says
This
he's
is
a
right
co-writer.
before what's the event called? Boiling Point. This is right before Boiling Point.
Yeah. So this is July. So I've been around, 4 months? Been backup writing and filling in where I'm needed. And Keelan hits me up and says that he needs a co-writer. And the way he laid it out, it was like, I could not leave him hanging. Like, he evidently needed the
You
help.
really couldn't have left him hanging because I specifically told him to pick you.
I have a feeling that I know how you said it, but yeah.
Well, because you were the only one capable that was available. So he didn't have a choice.
I had no coming in. I had no intentions of filling this type of role, but now that I have it, and now that I feel this sense of obligation, yeah, I can't. Like Olympus, Odyssey is like the rest of the Fed in its early stages, in its infancy, and I want to get the foundation laid solid. I want to establish that rapport with my roster. I want to establish the reputation that it's a good show, that it's consistently churning out good shit. I want to lay that groundwork. I still have things that I want to do with my own main character, things that I want to wrap up before I even think about putting her away. I have unfinished business. I have things I need to tend to here before I can, in good conscience, hang up my metaphorical boots.
Her e-boot.
So why are we still here, Haruna? Because I don't know how to let go. That's why.
And I guess that's that.
There you go.
Next question, please.
Our next question is from somebody we just praised the shit out of, and deservedly so. Our TV champion, Gareth Kaysen.
Oh boy. I think I know what this is.
He has 2 questions. So strap in. First question is, why are there so many damn members of the council? Which is fucking hilarious because none of them are here.
Yeah, literally
so really
none.
Funny.
We had Mr. Caspian on a little bit earlier, but he's having technical issues now, which is the main reason why we had to split this up into 2 parts. But to answer the question, because this episode was supposed to be about the council and everyone in it.
Yeah.
But everyone has their own set reasons why they can't be here. So I'm going to do a quick rundown for everybody. Besides the people we've already specified, I run this podcast, obviously, as my minor duty. As my major duty, I write Olympus, or I book Olympus. McAdams and Sabretooth, they are directly under me. They are the 2 that write Olympus. So they work directly under me. Miss Jackson here and Keelan Callahan, they are the writers/bookers of Odyssey. Mr. Oasis, the birthday boy, writes Kingdom. Mr. Finnegan Wakefield is the eWikia and the OWA Wikia guy. He's the master. He runs all of it. Terra Nova is our GFXer / one of our 2 video makers. The other video maker will remain anonymous for said person's personal reasons. If you have more questions about that, then join the Discord and you can ask around, whatever. And Nathan Fiora, our technical support guy as far as the forums, running the forums, making sure they look up to date, all the information on it is accurate, and same thing for the main website, making sure it looks great, making sure the shows get posted, making sure all the information listed on it is accurate and 100%. Oh, and also for minor duties, as I said, Finnegan posts our cards every single week because he made a specific code to make the cards look really cool or whatever. Something like that. I don't know. And Keelan runs the OWA Twitter and also created the OWA Reddit page. Those are two of his minor duties. I think that covers everything, right?
Yeah, that's everybody. That's everyone.
That's the brief way of explaining what everybody does. And that's why we're all here.
That covers that one. His second question.
This is the bullshit question, isn't it? Because I knew he asked a bullshit question.
Yeah, you know he had to get this in. Why is this podcast gonna be late, just like everything else Nas touches?
Well, it's gonna be for reasons outside of my control, aka being a dumbass and fucking it up midway through. That's the explanation for that this week. So there you go. I'm just the man of bad luck due to other people's incompetence. Yet I still get blamed for it. So whatever.
He definitely knows that he just likes to fuck with you.
Yeah? Anyways, next question.
This one is another really good one. It's from Scotty Adams, the inaugural Spartan champion, one of the foremost promoters on Kingdom.
Former contender for the World Championship.
Yes, he's hot off a world title match.
Amazing match. Go back and reread it if you haven't.
Very. Do yourself a favor. Is there any specific characters that when you check the promo board, you instantly gravitate toward their promos?
I'll let you start because I'm sure you read the promo page way more than I do. I'm not gonna.
For all the jokes that get cracked about how long Scotty's promos are, I do find myself wanting to read his promos.
He tells amazing stories. That's something I want to specify to people. If people think that we have problems with his promos, no, we love his promos. They just can get a little bit too long-winded sometimes.
I mean, I love, sometimes I have to clear out a whole afternoon to read them, but yeah, like I love.
I hope she's joking about that.
I'm joking. I do love Scotty. I love Scotty's promos.
Sometimes
because he runs
a little on the long side, but they're amazing.
Yeah, look, I don't need to meet all your girlfriends, man. Stop bringing those bitches into promos. He runs an alt named Kiara Robertson on Odyssey, and her base is the adorable Zaya Brookside. Please go watch her Mae Young Classic match if you haven't. And so now I'm not just reading his promos just for the hell of it. I'm reading them to actually determine what I want to do with her. And it's literally the same shit. It's great. So Scotty is someone that I check for, both as Scotty and as Kiara.
On the Olympus side of things, we got a guy very similar to Scotty in terms of how he writes his content, although not exactly the same. And similar kind of hype around him when he first came in, which is around the same time. That, of course, being Christopher Sabretooth, one of said Olympus writers now. He's probably my favorite promo amongst everybody on Friday nights. Well, one of them. One of them. I'd say my absolute favorite promo is still Miltiadis. But Sabretooth is definitely up there in the mix. Same thing for Kaysen. Bull, I love Bull's promos. I wish he'd promo earlier, but I love his promos. And my final answer in terms of my favorite promos would probably be Mr. Sinestro, who I'm surprised we haven't brought him up yet at all. But I suppose we can talk about him a little bit later. I don't want to talk about every single person, but I'll give little details for everybody. Sabretooth, very similar answer to Scotty. Very great with the little details, although the difference is, while Scotty's kind of more of a nice guy kind of deal, Sabretooth's more on the still really popular, but on more a little bit of the prickish side. But they're both kind of tweeners. So it's like
this is a fair
it's a little
assessment.
complicated, but Sabretooth, although in the future I would like to take him more in a face kind of direction because, spoiler alert, e-fetting is the land of the heels, basically, and the land of the tweeners. You don't see baby faces. Genuine, clear-cut baby faces, you don't see them very often. To the point where the people that do play them end up playing them for so long, because there's no need for extra heels, that you kind of lose interest in being a baby face after so long. I.e., the two people in this call right now.
Been there. Yeah, before earlier this year, yeah, we were in the exact same boat. We were just babyface supreme, and we're not going to be changing anytime soon because we couldn't.
First of all, we were too over as baby faces. Number two, there was no need for us to change in the first place because there was a never-ending influx of heels because everybody wants to be a cool, edgy bad guy.
Yeah.
Or just that edgy, mysterious guy who you don't know good or bad. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Which, that's not a knock on anybody, but it is a little bit overabundant, and I would like for some more genuine baby faces to pop around. I would like for some tweeners to decide to go full baby face. I would really like for some of you to do that. Who knows? It might give you further direction in the future, because I can guarantee you there's a lot more open baby face spots. Most certainly on Friday nights. I can't necessarily speak for the other two brands, but on Friday nights, there's a lot more open, genuine babyface spots on top than there are heel and tweener spots, because everybody wants to be a heel and a tweener.
Because it's easy. I'm not gonna front. It's when you
It is really easy. It's much. I don't know. I'd say it's about the same for me now because I've had so much experience writing babyface promos for so many years that really I could write anything now.
I can write anything, but I mean, I had gotten so used to playing heels that when I started running the Aria character as a face from the time I introduced her, I didn't intend to be a face for as long as I was. I didn't have a problem with it, but I was a face for 3 solid years, which I did not anticipate. But yeah, when you get those influxes of heels and tweeners,
I was a face for 4 solid years.
If you're a face and you can do it well, then there's no way anybody's gonna fucking turn you. And it took me leaving the Fed that I was in to do something different with Aria. And I think that's why I went so fucking buck wild with the heel shit when I first started running Aria and SSW. And I just went balls to the wall, scumbag, despicable Phantom Troop heel because I needed to get it out of my system. I needed to get all that out of the way. I needed to get it out of my system. Now I'm okay. But by the token of really cherishing good faces, I always check for Finnegan Wakefield's promos because he is a very good.
He's the definitive baby. He's the definitive baby face.
Yes, he's just an upstanding, just pure do-gooder baby face, and those are so difficult to come by. And he nails that role on the head. And I love reading his promos. And I have not gotten to face him in all the time we've known each other, so I hope that changes soon. We've already lavished the both of them with praise, but Kenny Drake and Nate Cage are must reads every time they promo. In Kenny's case, he's been feting for a long, long time. And over the course of the last couple of years, I've seen everything he's done with this character, whether he's been the kind of like, goofy, didn't take himself so seriously hipster stoner, or the vile, bloodthirsty cult leader that he is now. He can do anything and do it well. And he's so smart, and he paid attention to the small details, and his approach to everything is so cerebral. Everything he posts is fantastic. In the case of Nate Cage, he's shown such a
thing
flair.
For Kenny that separates him from me, he's an obvious opponent for me.
Yeah.
In the not so distant future, it has to happen. Still trying to pinpoint when we can make it happen, but it's gonna happen. I can tell you that right now. It might be a little bit of a spoiler, but we have no concrete on it, so But for sure, I'll be talking in the meantime. Don't worry. You know how I get to go.
Okay.
So basically, most of my opponents that I've faced throughout the years that have been long-standing rivals of mine have been people that have been considered, this person, these are the type of people that were considered, they were going to be legendary from their first moments. Whether it's Aaron Mistislav, Jacob Sen, Scott Oasis, Carlos Rosso, Jamie O'Hara, on and on. These are opponents of mine that from day one, these people were going to be top guys. These guys weren't, these guys they put in the work, obviously, but it came natural to them.
Yeah.
Kenny's kind of a different beast because Kenny's it's funny because Kenny's story of him coming into his own happened around the same time as mine, and it started off the same, but then we took two completely different paths. In terms of storytelling, you could say I went down the hero's path. I took the hero's journey versus Kenny Drake choosing to go down the path of the tyrant is what it's known as in fiction. Which of course is the natural storytelling aspect of the hero's journey being the natural story of the good guy versus the path of the tyrant being the natural progression of the bad guy, the villain, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Kenny's promos are fantastic, and I think what makes them intriguing isn't just how good he is at promoing and how good of a grasp he has on his character, but for anybody who comes across Kenny will tell you he is the nicest person currently breathing.
Oh yes, one of them.
Yeah, he's funny and genuine, and he's a very caring person who doesn't take this shit very seriously at all, which is a great attribute.
We can't discount the boy Nobi.
We cannot. Nobi is an angel. But it's very intriguing to me how somebody can play just such a fucked up, vile, twisted character and just be such a nice person outside of that.
It's funny because here's the thing. When it comes to characters that are played in EFEDs, it's either you play the character that is exactly like you, or you play the character that's the complete opposite of you. There's no in-between on that. You either play someone who you're exactly like, or you play someone who's completely different from you. Because you know who you are and can easily get a grasp on that, or you know what's the opposite of you, and you can easily take that and put it into something.
Where Kenny is a practice hand and has done this for a long time and has years of experience under his belt, Nate Cage is pretty much, he's still brand new.
Yeah.
He's a rookie.
Yes.
But you would never know by reading his promos. Nope. There is zero learning curve. And whether we're talking about match writing or promos or segments, because he writes a lot of the segments involving his alt, Natalie Cage, over on Odyssey.
Same thing for his other alt, Hunter Goodwin, along with Koji Sudan, the OWA tag team champions on Olympus.
Yes. He has his hands everywhere.
And he helps write all the Wolf's Den stuff, regardless of what brand it's on or who's involved.
there's no learning curve. Reading his promos, you would never know that he's still pretty
He's
much
another
brand
one
new
of
to
those
this.
guys that is an absolute natural at this. And the scary thing about it is he
Yes.
doesn't even realize it. He doesn't realize.
He doesn't. He
He
definitely
doesn't realize the
he
quality
sells
of
himself
guy
short.
he is.
He's great. I read all of his promos. And again, it's another case of I was always reading Nate Cage's promos, but now that I have Natalie Cage to oversee, now that I'm reading her promos with purpose, yeah, I can't reiterate how genuinely great he is at promoing. My eyes are always on the stuff that he posts.
Let's talk about some of the people I named real quick, because we already talked about Sabretooth. Let's talk about the TV champion real quick, the workhorse champion of the bunch.
Yes, Gareth.
The reason he's called the workhorse champion right now is because the TV title, of course, being the gimmick, it's defended on TV quite frequently, aka all the fucking time. So he's defended his belt more so than every other champion, far and away. And he won his belt later than a lot of the other champions that are around right now. At least the world champions. He probably has more defenses than Finn and I combined.
Easily.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy considering Finn and I do defend every single month. At least one of us do.
The thing about Gareth is, while the character is new, he is not new to fetting.
But it's almost as if he is, because he really didn't get to experience very much or to learn very much under his previous runs in other places, because he never really got the fair treatment from the outset to get to flourish and to get to use his creative mind and to do the things he thought would help get him over and all that, which really sucks. And that's why because originally he said he wouldn't come back to fetting ever. And I said, just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. I will take care of you. I will give you, and I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to give you the platform to make it happen yourself. Same thing for Bull. And now look at the two of them. I gave them that platform to do, not to hand it to them, not to spoon feed them, but I gave them a platform to show everybody what they were capable of when given the opportunity to flourish. And they have done all of that and then some.
And
I'm proud of both of them.
When not faced with unnecessary obstacles, it's amazing how people can just blossom and do great things. And the conversations, because the weird thing about it is, yes, I knew Garrett sort of in the place where we were previously.
Yes, but you didn't know him. You never actually really talked with him. Or got to know him. You never got to know the guy behind the characters.
Yeah, I never actually had a conversation with him. Like, I had not actually talked to him prior to all of us winding up at OWA, and now that I have, I completely understand the fears and the insecurities and the second thoughts that he had behind wanting to fed again.
And I can vouch for that more bigger than anybody, because I wasn't going to come back to fetting back in 2016. I don't know what made me come back. I don't know. I just got that thought to look back into the site. And that's when Oasis hit me up and was all like, hey, you really should give this another chance. I really think you can make something big happen. And Oasis and I have been dear friends for years. So I honestly have to thank him for all this that I have now. It wouldn't have happened. I'd be somewhere completely different in life right now. Well, I have to halfway thank him, halfway want to beat the fuck up out of him at the same time, because this can really piss me off at times, but other times, it's it's an unbelievable feeling of joy.
Well, I think. Well, this is off topic, but Oasis is, and I think as the podcast goes on, and people elaborate more on their bonds and relationships with other people, you're gonna hear a lot about Oasis because Birthday Boy he's a genuinely good dude. He is extremely selfless.
He's another one of those guys you can consider a little too nice for his own good. But
he is so patient.
Yes.
Almost
to a fault, but the fact that he is in the first place speaks volumes considering some of us are nowhere near like that.
Yes, I feel like you and I are like the hard asses on the council.
Well, once again, I'm not trying to be that guy, but someone has to. Someone has to put their foot down at times.
He's extremely patient. He never hesitates to put people on his roster ahead of himself. He slinks back into the shadows a lot. He's kind of I wouldn't say unsung hero, because I think people lay quite a bit of praise on him and it's all deserved. But I've had positive experiences.
Scott Oasis himself is certainly not an unsung hero. The Scott Oasis character is an unsung hero.
Yes, not the person behind it, but the Scott Oasis character, yes, is
in script.
Hero. Yeah, in script, definitely. Oasis, he's my writer now. He has been my writer on and off at different points in time for the last 2.5 years. When I was still kind of proving myself with this character, because like I said, I had fed it elsewhere where people knew what I could do. I had nothing to stand on this side of the internet. And when I was sort of proven, sort of still finding my footing in a lot of people's eyes, he gave me opportunities to boost myself up and shove me to the forefront where other people wouldn't have. He has always gone to bat for me, always given me my due, so I am indebted to him. I want to choke him and dispose of his body at least once a day. But that always passes.
Yeah.
And that always passes. I always read his promo, especially now with how intriguing the angle's getting with him trying to take out Wolves Den one by one. That's somebody whose promos you have to keep up with.
Back to some of the people I named. Mr. Connors, Bull. Talked a little bit about him. Number one thing, I wish he would promo more because his promos are outstanding, but wish he get a little bit more energy on when he gets them out. But he's one of those guys. He's another one of those guys that just nails perfectly who he's supposed to be. Just this big, no nonsense. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna maul you. This bruiser. And
then he does it.
But he's also one of those guys that's like, for a bruiser, he can do anything in that ring. Most bruisers can't do anything in that. Or everything, I should say.
He's his pick base.
Yes.
Basically,
in that regard. He is Kevin.
Yeah.
He even loses his patience with people very fast, like Kevin.
Well, I have to shout out an Olympus guy now. He's new, and I feel like his ceiling is really, really high. And this is somebody that we both have a connection to because he's our stablemate, Miles Taylor.
I knew you were going to say Mr. Taylor.
I love Miles. I think his promos are fantastic.
They are. He's another guy that perfectly captures who he's supposed to be.
Yeah, he's just headstrong. He's here to knock heads, break people's jaws, advance up the company ladder. He doesn't care at what cost. Yeah, it's just hurt people and not give a single solitary shit. I love it. And again, this is not just somebody that is on Olympus in OWA. over at SSW, the partner fed, he is in the Phantom Troop.
Our stable.
With our stable, yes. The stable that I inherited the title of lead from somehow.
Yes. Well, because you were the champion.
Yeah, at that time I was world champion. He is in that stable with us. He is the most recent recruit. He's so good. He's really, really, really good.
He's very good.
On both sides, I find myself always wanting to read his promos. He's great. This one might be a little bit of a sleeper answer because historically, I feel like I've sometimes unfairly been a little bit tough on her. But with the position that she's in now, I'm always checking for her promos because I love where she's at now and I want to see her get better and push herself. Azumi Goto.
I knew you were going to say that, and I absolutely agree.
Who is our new Queen of the Ring. And it's been almost 3 years since I first came into contact with this girl. And I'm going to get candid. There was a long period of time where we didn't get along.
You mean a long period of time where you held a grudge?
Yes, a long period of time where I held a grudge. Yes, at the onset, yes, it was her fault. But yes, I held the grudge longer than I should have. We are on great terms now. And I feel like, I don't know. She's always had the right mindset. But I feel like, I don't know, her glass ceiling was always so low and I didn't know what else she had to do to get past it. And I feel like she has so much, this change of scenery has given her so much more confidence.
It's done that for a lot of people.
And she's improving little by little. And so, yes, I'm checking her promos out of obligation because I'm her writer. I have to. That's on a surface level. But beyond that, I keep wanting to see how much she's going to push herself, how much better she's going to do, and what she's going to do with this newfound opportunity. Because Keelan and I do have a lot of faith in her. We want to see her continue to succeed. So I guess whether I'm in the position where I'm writing her match or whatever from 1 week to another, that's still somebody that I'm always checking for her shit on the promo page. I think that's everybody.
Mr. Well, we've already talked about what Miltiades, but Mr. Sinestro.
Yeah. Yes, and
Jacob Sean, for those of you that are unaware.
Jacob Sean, do not call him that.
You're right. Jacob Sin, for those of you who are unaware.
Jacob Sin, Jesus Christ.
All right. I'll stop playing around. Jacob Sin, for those that are unaware, is a legendary figure in the world of eFeds. He is a man that has been doing this longer than both of us. He's been writing far longer than most of us. He's been writing even longer than Oasis has, to put into perspective. And Oasis has been writing for a very long time. Mr. Sen is the man who not only is one of the top guys and the number one contender to my championship here in OWA, he is the active chairman and head writer for our Strong Style Wrestling, our partner fed, our brother fed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, he's been doing this for a very long time under a slew of different characters. Jacob Sen, far and away his biggest one, former champion of eFeds, multiple-time world champion, all these different accomplishments, all these different accolades, all these big things throughout the years he's done. Absolute marvel, one of the greatest ever. And someone I got to see him reach the top for the first time when I first came in as a new guy. So I saw that. He was the first guy I saw that first achieved a top spot for the first time. Because all the other guys that were top guys when I first came in had been top guys. He was the first new top guy I saw. So I saw him as a benchmark. I said, I'm gonna win it like that one day. Fast forward 4 years. Longer than I wanted, but it was so sweet when it came. And thanks to Jacob, as he was my writer at the time, and he was trying to push me to that next level and get me in that spot, that I'd earned for a while, but due to a slew of circumstances wasn't going to happen. But I'd accepted that. I was fine with it because I knew my time would come eventually. I knew all the good things would come to me eventually if I was patient enough, and oh, did it come.
Yep.
So I'm thankful to Jacob eternally. He and Oasis took care of me as my direct writers. They weren't the only people who looked after me throughout the years. There were lots of others who looked out for me throughout the years, those of which I do stay in contact with, like Brian Daniels, legendary guy, Lannister, legendary guy. But then there are those others that I'm not going to name because they're not here, and I don't know if they'd want. I'm pretty sure they would not want me to mention them, even if it's going to be in a good sense. Which it's one of the few things she and I differ on. There's certain people from our former federation that I still have love and appreciation for what they did for me, and it's something I don't let go of because that's the type of person I am. If you did something good for me in the past and you really looked out for me and genuinely cared about me, I don't let go of that so simply. I mean, you can feel how you want to feel now. You can change your perspective on me. That's fine. That's not going to force me to easily change my perspective on you, though. I don't forget what people do for me. And I don't forget how people treated me. That doesn't mean, now, of course, what that means is I don't forget the bad shit. But if you've done way more good for me, then that outweighs the bad. That's how I feel about it.
This is something that we touched on. I could hold a grudge.
That's in reference to two people. And I'm pretty sure those two guys, if they ever do happen to hear this, they should be able to pick themselves out. Yeah. Hopefully they do, because I'm not gonna elaborate any further on that. But yes, in terms of Jacob, one of the best ever. Don't even have to, there's so much we could talk about in terms of his quality as a writer and a promoter that's just off the fucking charts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The level of detail in his writing, the storytelling in his writing. And I can certainly attest to this because he and I have been longstanding rivals for, actually, it's about to be a year now.
Y'all can't escape each other, is what the thing is.
But who knows? This World Championship match, it just might be the culmination of a year-long rivalry. Who really knows?
You guys have been chasing each other from continent to continent, company to company. But yeah, I can't. Prior to coming to SSW, Sen had never written me before. Because in our prior Fed, whether I was on the women's show or any of the other shows, it's just the stars never aligned. I was never under Sen. So, but even before I had gotten a chance to be someone that he was writing, Sen is he's a sort of kindred spirit with Oasis. He's a genuinely good, selfless dude.
Absolutely.
Who oftentimes, and it can be a personality flaw, puts other people before himself to the point where he's not looking out for himself.
And that's something that gets lost by a lot of people, which is something it really I just feel so bad for the guy that he has to go out of his way so much to undermine himself and give himself so little just to prove to other people that he doesn't just care about himself. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Which really sucks. And it's the same thing for Oasis. I wish these guys would throw themselves a bone every now and then because they deserve it for all the good that they do for us so consistently.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why I don't feel bad about treating myself. Because yes, I do treat myself, but I don't just treat myself. I treat everybody around me. I take care of all my brothers and sisters.
Everybody.
Exactly.
I don't feel bad.
That's why I don't mind treating myself.
Or the thing, I understand why, and I know why you feel the way you do. I also understand why Oasis and Sen feel the opposite. Why they feel like they're in a bit of an awkward position where, well, I'm at the helm, so I don't want it to look sketchy by giving myself X, Y, and Z.
But also, of course, I don't feel bad about having my reign because I'm living out the reign that I was supposed to have. but didn't end up quite getting?
And see, yeah, I can't say that because
You had yours.
at the time
And then you got another one anyway.
At the time that we left, I was coming out of a 9-month world title reign. We leave a week later. I win the world title in SSW. So yeah, I'm good.
It's whatever. The point is,
I have nothing else to ask for at the moment.
The point is,
But yes, Zen's capabilities as a promoter cannot be understated, just as his good deeds outside of that cannot be understated. He better fucking listen to this.
I'm sure he'll listen.
We turned in the Zen appreciation hour. He better listen to this.
All right, what's the next question?
I'm sure Oasis will. I think we just have one more.
Yeah, I knew we didn't get a lot of questions, but at least we got to elaborate on the ones that we did get. Pad out time.
This one, this one is from our dear friend John Doe / Brian Adams. Brian Adams. Brian Daniels.
Who's Brian Adams?
I just scrolled past Scotty's forum avatar. I think that's why I said Adams.
Right,
Brian Daniels. And he just asks, why are you the way that you are?
Well, that kind of goes along with Finn's question, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, these kind of go hand in hand. These go hand in hand.
Why am I the way that I am? Lots of anime, lots of video games. I guess wrestling played a part too. And just a young mixed kid who grew up in the suburbs. Nothing more to say about that.
Why am I the way that I am? I don't know. I guess so. Being a girl who e-feds. That's already kind of an anomaly. I figured out very early on that there are way more guys than girls that e-fed, which is reflective of the overall demographic.
Please, ladies who listen to this, join us, please. More genuine, please. I can't say enough.
It's reflective of the demographic of wrestling fans. There are way more guys than girls that are into wrestling.
Well, that's a natural thing. That's the way wrestling was cultivated throughout the years.
Yeah. But that's not a feeling that I'm not used to, because my whole life, to an extent, I feel like I've been interested in things that weirdos categorize as being, I'm doing finger quotes, typically male or stereotypically male, because I grew up watching football and basketball with my dad. I ran around outside scraping my knees with my brothers and my cousins when I was a kid. So I've always kind of towed that line. And I say these things, and then when you see me in real life, like, I have acrylic nails and I'm wearing pink. So I've always sort of towed that line. I've always kind of been treated like a unicorn, is what our friend Cloud likes to call me. I'm a unicorn. So it's kind of like,
very special sighting.
Every interest that I've had over the course of my life is in there somehow, whether it is wrestling or sports outside of that, or superhero media, true crime shows, slasher movies. Everything just kind of, you boil it down and you wrap it up in a suburban Valley Girl package with a slight attitude problem, and this is your end result. I don't think I have any complaints.
And there you have it. Well, I mean, let's see here. When did we start this part? 11:56. It's been a little over an hour.
It's not bad.
So I guess that can do it for part 2. So I guess that's going to be a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are not in OWA, please join. Please, if you're, please,
we would love to have
we
you.
would love to have all of you. If you're a guy, please sign up. Please sign up as a babyface. If you're a woman, an actual woman, just sign up in general. Don't care. Don't care how you sign up. If you're an actual woman, sign up as a female base, please.
No, we don't. I mean, the split on Odyssey as of now is pretty even.
Yeah.
So
it's genuinely fine. If you're a guy who wants to play a female character or a female who wants to play a male character, you can generally do it. That's just me playing around. Although, I mean, it would be preferable, but you can do what you want to do. We're not going to tell you what to do. And you don't have to sign up as a babyface. You can sign up whatever type of character you want. It would just be preferable to get more baby faces.
Be good, people. Please just try it. Be a face. It'll be fun. I promise. Like I said, we did it for a long time.
You will have lots of fun because you will have lots of people to work with and to build stories with.
A lot of people will want to kill you, but you get over that.
Oh man. So besides that, when this goes up, Mr. Caspian will have all the links to all of our different things down below. OWA Twitter, OWA forums, OWA main site. I guess we could put the wiki in there too, right? The Wikia, the Reddit,
but
the Twitter page,
yeah.
all that good stuff. Oh, the Discord link as well. The Discord link will be down below as well.
Discord, yes. Yeah, come talk to us on Discord.
Yes.
Join the party. I don't know if I'm kidding or not when I say it's a party, honestly.
Yeah, it kind of is. But besides that, sounds about like everything, right? We didn't really get to, I mean, we did answer the core aspect. This was kind of just to get us going, to get a format set up. Future episodes will be much more better structured than this one. I will certainly assure you of that.
Yeah.
But this first episode was just to get us going, to introduce us, the two hosts, to you, and our tech guy, who hopefully will be around as well in a lot of episodes, if he doesn't stay busy like he was tonight. Also, expect to hear from more council members in the coming episodes. We hope. But
fingers crossed.
I'm also going to start opening up polls on our forums. For those that are listening that are in OWA already, there's going to be a poll every single week, and I'm going to put, how many people should I put on it? Is 8 too many?
3.
3? Oh, only 3?
Well, okay, well, let's go in the middle. 5.
5. We'll have 5 people listed. Five different people, and from those 5 people, all of you will get to pick. You will vote, and whichever person gets the most votes, that will be the person who will be appearing in the upcoming episode. Now, I'm going to make a poll, but it's not going to be for the upcoming episode unless something comes up last minute. Most likely, the next episode will be including some of the other council members that we left out, aka all of them. Or as many as we can get. Most likely, but if something comes up with as well, then most likely we're just going to be left to having to go with that person, or potentially people. We could end up doing more than one person at a time. If we get tied, then we'll bring in 2 people. Or if the scenario calls for 2 people, like if we do Wolves Den, we'll probably bring in. Well, I don't remember Kenny Drake ever talking on voice. I don't think he does.
I have never. All the calls that have happened while Kenny was around,
but
I've
Nate
never
Cage, we can make that happen.
heard Kenny.
Nate Cage will probably be in the first
Nate Cage
poll.
would definitely jump into a poll. Yeah.
We'll figure out the people.
Yeah,
we'll get
heard
them all
Nate
laid out.
plenty of times, but yeah.
We'll lay out all the people for the first poll. So, with that said, Thank you for watching, everybody. If you like the video, of course, give it a like. It'll help us out in getting ourselves known, getting ourselves out there, pushing ourselves out there.
Promotion.
Yes.
You
But
gotta do what you
I'm not
gotta
going to
do.
tell you to like the video if you genuinely didn't like it. If you did enjoy it, then please give it a like.
I am. Like it. What the hell? What are you talking about? I don't care how you
Well, you
sound,
heard
give
it from her.
thumbs up. Please.
Will you have anything left to say?
I said please.